Hey everyone, I'm your host Ryan. Welcome back to Speak Up, the podcast that helps you improve English without feeling lost. Whether you're commuting, doing chores, or relaxing with a cup of chai, we're here to make your English journey easy and exciting. Every episode is packed with real English, spoken naturally, just the way fluent people use it. And today's episode is no different. We're diving into something super useful, daily conversation phrases. You might already know words like hello or thank you, but we're going a step further. These are the phrases that native speakers use every single day without even thinking. And once you learn them, you'll start to sound more fluent without memorizing long grammar rules. Trust me, these phrases are your shortcut to speaking English naturally and confidently.
Hi everyone, this is Priya. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and support us. Seriously, your support helps us create more free content just for you. We upload daily episodes to help you speak English confidently, and we always focus on what you actually need in daily life, not just boring textbook stuff. Now, let's talk about why these daily use phrases are so powerful. First, they appear in almost 90% of everyday conversations. Think about it. When you're at work, talking to a friend, or texting someone, you're probably repeating the same kind of expressions again and again. These phrases help you avoid awkward pauses, sound more fluent, and understand others better. And the best part? You don't have to be an expert to use them.
Exactly. And here's something most learners don't realize. When you focus on real phrases, not just single words, you start to build fluency naturally. These aren't just random sentences. They're practical, realistic, and slightly advanced, perfect for learners who want to move beyond beginner-level English. And that's exactly what today's episode is about. We've carefully selected 50 powerful phrases that you'll hear and use every day. They'll help you with casual chats, polite requests, work talk, phone conversations, and more. And we're not just listing them. We'll explain each group of phrases in a way that makes them easy to remember and easy to use, right after you hear them.
And here's a little teaser before we begin. By the end of this episode, you won't just know these phrases, you'll be ready to use them in your own life. We're going to show you how fluent speakers naturally express things like running late, being too busy, or reacting politely. You'll find yourself thinking, wow, I've heard that before, but now I know how to use it. So get ready because today's episode is packed with real, practical English. Let's jump into the first group of phrases, how to start your day like a native speaker.
Let's start with how most of us feel when we open our eyes. I couldn't sleep properly last night. We all experience those nights, right? But this version sounds more fluent than simply saying, I didn't sleep. You can use it casually or even in more professional settings, like, I couldn't sleep properly last night. I think I had too much coffee. It's simple, a bit more advanced, and very common in real conversations. Another phrase I like to use in the morning is, let's get the day rolling. It's just a more energetic way of saying, let's start the day. Instead of saying something plain like, let's begin, this gives a nice push to your tone, like, let's get the day rolling. We've got a lot to do. It feels fresh, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And here's one I end up using more than I'd like to admit. I'm already running behind schedule. It's a perfect phrase when you're in a rush or trying to explain why you're late, especially in a professional way. For example, sorry, I'm running behind schedule. I'll be there in 10 minutes. It sounds more respectful than just saying, I'm late. Another one I personally love is, what's on your plate today? No, we're not talking about food here. It's a friendly way to ask someone what they have planned or what tasks they're juggling. So if I ask Ryan, hey, what's on your plate today? I'm basically showing interest in his schedule in a warm, natural way.
That's a great one. It feels like a very human way to check in without sounding too formal. And here's the last phrase for this part. Can we grab a quick breakfast before we head out? This is such a polite and fluent way to suggest grabbing food without sounding pushy. Like, hey, can we grab a quick breakfast before we head out? I skipped dinner last night. It's the kind of sentence that makes your English sound relaxed but polished, something you'd hear in real conversations all the time.
Exactly. These 5 phrases are gold. Even if you start using just 2 of them every morning, you'll notice a huge shift in how confident you sound, and honestly, the people around you will notice it too, because you're not just speaking English, you're using it the way fluent speakers do. That's where real progress begins.
Let's move into something we all need to get better at, making polite requests. Here's a great one. Would you mind giving me a hand with this? It's such a respectful way to ask for help, whether you're talking to a coworker, a friend, or even a stranger. Instead of saying, help me, which sounds a bit direct, this version softens your tone. For example, would you mind giving me a hand with this box? It sounds so much better, right? Now, here's another one I really like using in emails or when talking to someone in a position of authority. I'd really appreciate it if you could finish it today. It's polite, clear, and shows gratitude in advance. You're asking for something, but also respecting their time.
That's so true. Being polite in English can make a huge difference in how people respond to you. Another useful one is, could we possibly move the meeting to tomorrow? Now, this is perfect for situations where you need to reschedule but don't want to sound pushy. Saying, can we change the meeting is okay, but could we possibly move the meeting to tomorrow is softer and more respectful. It keeps the tone professional. And if someone responds, you can follow up with, let me know if that works for you. This line shows that you care about their schedule too. You're not just making demands, you're inviting their input.
Exactly. That little phrase, let me know if that works for you, can really change the tone of a message or conversation. It shows flexibility and consideration, and people appreciate that. Finally, here's a phrase that sounds both gentle and fluent. If it's not too much trouble, can you send it again? Sometimes emails or messages get lost, and instead of saying, send it again, which sounds abrupt, you can say this. It shows patience and professionalism. For instance, if it's not too much trouble, can you send it again? I think I missed it the first time. That just sounds so much more natural, right?
It really does. These small upgrades in your language help you build better relationships, whether at work or in your personal life. They're the kind of phrases that fluent speakers use without thinking, but now you've got them too. And the best part is, once you use them a few times, they'll become part of your natural speaking style.
Now, let's talk about how to make your conversations sound more real and connected, especially when you're just checking in with someone. A great way to start is by asking, how's everything going at your end? It's a warmer and more personal alternative to just saying, how are you? Plus, it shows that you're genuinely interested in what's happening in the other person's life. Like if I text Priya and say, hey, how's everything going at your end? It just feels more thoughtful. Another phrase that works really well in casual conversations is, what have you been up to lately? It's perfect for reconnecting with someone after a little time apart. It opens the door to a relaxed two-way chat.
Exactly. And when you're the one starting a conversation, sometimes it's polite to check if the timing is right. That's when you can say, is this a good time to talk? It's such a simple phrase, but it instantly shows respect for the other person's time. It's especially helpful in phone calls or online chats. You don't want to interrupt someone's busy moment. And when someone asks how you're doing, instead of just saying, I'm fine, you can say something like, honestly, I've been swamped with work. It adds more detail and sounds very natural. You're being honest and expressive without over-explaining.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. It's real. Saying I've been swamped with work tells the other person you're busy, but in a way that's still casual and fluent. And here's a great sentence to keep the flow of conversation going. That's something I've been thinking about too. It's perfect when you want to show agreement or let someone know that their thoughts match yours. For example, if Priya says, I've been thinking about switching careers, I could reply, that's something I've been thinking about too. It instantly builds connection.
Yes, and that's what great conversations are all about, connection. These kinds of phrases don't just help you speak better English, they also make your interactions feel more human, more genuine. Once you start using them regularly, your confidence really begins to grow.
Now that we've covered some casual check-ins and natural ways to ask questions, let's talk about how to express your opinions and react in conversations. It's important to sound thoughtful and polite, especially when you're sharing your views. A good phrase to start with is, from my perspective, that sounds fair. It's a respectful way to agree with someone while making it clear this is your personal opinion. For example, if someone suggests an idea at work, you could say, from my perspective, that sounds fair, which shows you're open-minded but thoughtful.
That's a great one, Ryan. And sometimes you might want to gently disagree without sounding rude. You can say, I'm not entirely convinced, to be honest. It's a polite way to express doubt or hesitation. For instance, if someone suggests a plan you're unsure about, you might say, "I'm not entirely convinced, to be honest. Maybe we should think it over a bit more." It keeps the conversation respectful and honest. On the other hand, when you completely agree, you can say, "That's exactly what I was thinking." It's a nice way to show you're on the same page with someone, making the discussion feel more connected.
Absolutely, Priya. And if you want to acknowledge someone's point but keep the conversation going, you can say, "You've got a point there." It's an easy phrase to show you're listening and considering their opinion seriously. Like, "You've got a point there. Maybe we should explore that option." Finally, here's a phrase that's great for keeping things open-minded. That's one way to look at it. It's perfect when you want to acknowledge a different opinion without fully agreeing. It keeps the discussion friendly and balanced.
Yes, these phrases help you sound like a confident and thoughtful speaker, which really impresses people. Using them naturally makes your English feel more advanced and professional without being complicated. Plus, they help you manage conversations smoothly, whether you agree or disagree.
Now that we've talked about opinions, let's switch gears and dive into phrases you can use when talking about your daily life. It's so useful to sound natural when sharing what's going on around you. For example, you can say, "I've got a ton of things to take care of today." It shows you're busy, but in a casual way that fits everyday conversations. If you're trying to finish something quickly, you might say, "Let me just wrap this up real quick." It's a polite way to let someone know you're about to finish what you're doing.
Exactly, Ryan. And when you want to complain or just comment on your commute, you can say, "The traffic was insane this morning." It's a bit more expressive than just saying the traffic was bad. It helps you sound more natural and fluent. Or when you accomplish something small but satisfying, you can say, "I finally managed to clean out the storage room." It's a nice way to share a little success from your day. And don't forget to stay connected with people. "I've been meaning to call you" is perfect when you want to let someone know they're on your mind, but you haven't found the time yet.
Those phrases really add life to daily conversations. Instead of just saying, "I'm busy," you give more detail, which keeps the talk interesting. Plus, "Let me just wrap this up real quick" is useful when you're multitasking and want to be polite about it. It shows respect for others' time too.
Right. And these small details make your English sound fluent and natural. When you say "the traffic was insane," people immediately get the feeling you're sharing a real experience. And phrases like "I've been meaning to call you" are perfect for keeping relationships strong, even when life gets hectic.
Now let's talk about expressing emotions in a way that sounds natural and clear. When something good happens, you can say, "That's such a relief." It's a great way to show you're happy or relieved without sounding too formal. And when you're excited about something coming up, try saying, "I'm really looking forward to it." It's a friendly phrase that works well whether you're talking about a trip, an event, or even the weekend.
Definitely, Ryan. And if someone does something nice for you, you can say, "You've made my day." It's a warm, heartfelt way to show appreciation. But sometimes, when you're feeling a bit off, you can be honest and say, "I'm just not in the mood right now." It lets people know how you feel without going into too much detail. And when things have been tough, you might say, "It's been one of those days." It's a common phrase that captures frustration or tiredness in a casual way.
Exactly. These phrases help you share your feelings naturally, making your conversations more genuine. Saying, "That's such a relief," instead of just "I'm glad," adds emotion and makes you sound more fluent. And "I'm really looking forward to it" shows positivity and enthusiasm, which people love to hear.
Yes, and being able to say, "I'm just not in the mood right now," helps you communicate honestly without sounding rude. Plus, phrases like "It's been one of those days" are perfect for casual chats with friends or coworkers. They help you express your mood in a way that everyone understands.
All right, let's move on to how we talk about time and planning in a more fluent way. For example, if you want to follow up with someone soon, you can say, "Let's touch base later this week." It sounds professional, but still friendly. Another useful one is, "I've penciled it in for Friday." It's a casual way of saying you've planned something, but it's not final yet. Perfect for flexible schedules.
Exactly, and sometimes plans change. Instead of just saying, "Can we change the time?" you can say, "Can we reschedule for another time?" It sounds much more natural and polite. And if you're running out of time before a deadline or a meeting, you might say, "We're cutting it a bit close." That tells the other person things are tight but still possible. And of course, when the day gets away from you, "I completely lost track of time" is a perfect way to explain it.
Yeah, these phrases are super helpful when managing your day. Saying, "let's touch base later this week" keeps things open without sounding vague. And "I've penciled it in for Friday" shows that you're planning ahead but still flexible, which is great in both work and personal life.
Right, and being able to say "we're cutting it a bit close" or "I completely lost track of time" makes your English sound much more natural. These phrases aren't complicated, but they add a layer of fluency that really stands out in conversations.
Let's dive into some really useful phrases for phone and online conversations. These days, we're always texting, calling, or video chatting, right? So when the call quality isn't great, you can say, "Sorry, you're breaking up a bit." It's polite and helps the other person know there's an issue without blaming them. And if you want to let someone else hear the conversation, just say, "Let me put you on speaker." It's casual but very commonly used.
Exactly, and when you're texting someone quickly instead of calling, just say, "I'll drop you a quick message." It sounds natural and friendly. Also, we all miss emails sometimes, so instead of saying "send it again," try "can you forward that email again?" It's more professional but still relaxed. And if you miss someone's call, you can say, "Sorry, I was on another call." That one keeps it smooth and respectful.
Right. And once you've sent something online, maybe a file or a link, you can follow up with, "I just sent it. Let me know if you got it." It's a great way to confirm without sounding too pushy. And when texting isn't enough, you might suggest, "Can we switch to video?" It's an easy and modern phrase, especially for work calls or online meetups.
Yes, and using these phrases makes digital communication feel much smoother. Whether you're on a Zoom meeting or just sending quick updates, saying things like "let me put you on speaker" or "can we switch to video" helps you sound natural and fluent, even when the Wi-Fi isn't perfect.
All right, now let's look at some natural ways to end a conversation without sounding abrupt or awkward. For instance, when it's time to leave but you want to keep things polite, you can say, "Anyway, I should get going." It gently signals that you need to wrap up. And if you want to suggest meeting again soon, just say, "Let's catch up soon." It keeps the connection going and sounds really friendly.
Totally agree. And after a good talk, instead of just saying "bye," try "thanks for the chat." It's warm and shows appreciation. You can also say "we'll talk more about this later" if you want to continue the topic another time. It makes the conversation feel open-ended, like it's not really over yet.
Exactly. If you're waiting on updates or still figuring something out, saying, "keep me posted" is a smooth way to ask for follow-ups. Or if it's your turn to get back to them, just say, "I'll let you know what I find out." These are short, but they're very natural in everyday life, especially in texts or casual work chats.
And finally, when you're signing off casually, you can say something like "take it easy." It's relaxed, friendly, and shows you care. Or just wrap up with "talk soon, all right?" It gives a warm, personal touch and keeps the door open for the next conversation. These phrases make goodbyes feel smooth and real, not forced or robotic.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. We really hope these 50 daily English phrases help you sound more confident, natural, and fluent in everyday conversations.
If you found this episode helpful, make sure to follow the podcast and share it with someone who's also trying to improve their English. Thanks for listening, and as always, talk soon.